Okay, the PVB, which means the most to me and why, would be exemplary service delivered with integrity, dignity, and compassion. I feel like we always did that and we did it well, but after the lockdown and COVID, I feel like it took on such a bigger meaning. Here in California, where things have been pretty restrictive and things can change so quickly, I felt like with our different activities, we really needed to make a difference and make a big memory for every activity that we did. Even with cooking demos with Gino, and I was able to kind of push for the garden club, and one day during the lockdown, we were still able to, with all the social distancing, have a simple sack lunch on the bus and go sit at a park. We weren't able to get off the bus, but just to have people outside that hadn't been outside of the facility in months, trying to let them live with all the constraints. And we did all kinds of luncheons even when we weren't able to really get out of the facility. We did farm-to-table luncheons in the garden club, and then we went and met with an organic gardener as things started to open up, and spent the morning with him at a famous restaurant down in Laguna Beach, and then we were able to eat lunch there. So basically all the things that they picked that morning when we were there, we were able to eat that afternoon for lunch, so that was really neat. And going to the Beyond Van Gogh exhibit, it was something that people, even that didn't really have too much of an interest in Van Gogh, they were able to see that, and it was really a lot of them said it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and bringing family with us, and just made it a really neat opportunity. And then, let's see, the last question. One of the most memorable experiences I've had, since I'm in wellness, I have a hard time thinking of just one resident. All of the things that I did with my mom obviously were really memorable and special, and it was just so fun. Even as she was beginning to decline, those are some of actually my best memories, and just how everybody here was so wonderful with her. But more recently, like I said, how we've been trying to really hit it out of the park, I had come up with an idea of, since residents couldn't go anywhere vacation, that we would bring the vacation to them. So I had come up with a Mediterranean themed luncheon. And what makes it my favorite was it made such a big impact on the residents, but it was such a great collaborative effort. I was starting to bounce things off of Gino, and because I knew that he loved to cook. So I knew I could get him in there. And I'd come up with a basic menu for it and an idea, and he was able to come up with this amazing menu, and he'd gone to his farmer's market and he'd made almost all of the food, and I was having a hard time figuring out where to do it to make it the most special. And my boss Margie came up with a great idea. There's a beach club right down the street from here, and it looks like you're in the Mediterranean. And we took everybody there, and it was wonderful, and the setup, and it was hot, and we got out there, we wore different clothes, and I was there. One of the women in my department, Betsy, she even came in her day off because she knew it was going to be something special, and she wanted to help me out. And when Margie and Gino got there, the first thing they said to me was, "What can we do to help?" And it wasn't a power thing, it was we were all in it together. And the residents, it made me emotional because they were coming up, it was a luncheon, and they basically said, "This is something that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life." And that was just such a surprise, and so wonderful that something as simple as food that brings us all together, they were all able to connect with all of us and on a different level, and they really felt like they were transported.